Hello and welcome to the West Yorkshire Football Show. We're chatting all things Leeds United in the big build-up to Sunday's playoff final clash against Southampton. And I'm delighted to say joining me on the show is Southampton journalist and podcaster Martin Sanders. Martin, it's great to get you back on the show.
Yeah, it's great to be back. We had a feeling this could be the case when we spoke earlier in the season. We were saying, well, could we meet again, and we do. And what an occasion it's going to be as well. It's just so nerve wracking. We've got a few days to go, and yeah, my sleep patterns totally changed in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, if you are watching us on YouTube, please do smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. And if you're watching along on X, please do like and retweet us. And if you listen again later on Spotify, please do leave us a rating and review. Now, Martin, as you mentioned there, obviously we had you on the show. I think it was probably a couple months ago. Maybe my time frames in my head are all over the place with everything that's been going on. At that point, we were still in contention for the automatic places. Alas, it didn't work out for Leeds or Southampton. We now find ourselves going up against each other in the playoff final. Just before we kind of get into the preview of the final, talk to me a little bit about that playoff semi-final against West Brom. How did you think Saints did overall? Obviously, they got through to the final. You must be delighted. But what did you make of the performances?
Yeah, outstanding, brilliant. I thought the first leg was really edgy. We knew West Brom were going to defend well. They were going to be organised. That they didn't water the pitch a great deal. At the Hawthorns, they made it hard for us. They knew we want to go and play football and control the game. Russell kind of come up with a slightly different formation. They're using the same personnel. He's mixed things up against Leeds in the final game at Ellen Road. He took that into the game against West Brom and it worked really, really well. I think it set up the second leg really perfectly for him, really. We went into that game at St Mary's and I've never seen anything like it at St Mary's last week. It was electric. The fan base had called for everyone to unite, come together, create a really hostile atmosphere. It's been a nice place to come, St Mary's, maybe too nice. A little bit soft southerners we've been called many, many times. But we certainly weren't last weekend. We were absolutely tremendous. The scenes outside St Mary's before the game were brilliant. We welcomed the players in on a coach, and that atmosphere continued into the stadium. And I thought there was only going to be one winner on the night. I thought with the fans like they were, it's the best atmosphere St Mary's had since we moved from the Dow. Without any questions, we've had some European nights there. We've had England internationals played there. It topped everything off, and
Wow.
the performance. And the performance second half was absolutely immense. There were some big performances from some players that have really started to find some form. And we got through it without Shay Adams. The 2 legs, Adams was injured, and we got through it. So delighted to see him back in training today, and hopefully he'll be fit and ready for the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I know Leeds fans were keeping an eye on the fitness of Shay Adams, and it's funny because he's someone who was linked with the move to Leeds for about 10 years as well. In terms of how you felt about how the season kind of finished up then, what was the mood amongst Southampton fans going into the playoffs? Because from a Leeds point of view, we were very anxious about it. Obviously, we've had no success in the playoffs previously. Lot of concerns. However, I feel like it switched with the Norwich second leg performance, 4-0, and our best performance for probably 2 or 3 months. And it feels like something's just switched with Leeds fans. But what was it like from a Saints point of view going into those playoffs?
Before we played Leeds, it was really flat. People were concerned. People didn't think we'd have stand a chance in the playoffs. I think we were all a little bit downbeat. We got beaten late in a couple of games and poor performance at home in the final league game against Stoke. We were poor, lost 1-0. We lost to Cardiff in the last second the week before, and obviously got hammered by Leicester in amongst that. So it was flat. We went to Leeds. You probably couldn't get further away from a pre-season game, really, but Southampton played well. They were really good there at Leeds. One of our better performances. We looked a little bit more resolute at the back, and slight change of the way he wanted to set up. Used Jack Stevens in a slightly different role and played 5 at the back, and it seemed to work quite well. And we walked away there with a little bit of confidence. We go to Hawthorns, we played quite well, and I think the similar to you guys, I think us both having the home game second, I think made a big difference because you can get your home fans on board. Look, we should have won that fight 4 or 5-0 against West Brom. Really, we should have had a penalty as well. And they were so negative, bit like Norwich were, like in your game. Just trying to catch us, both of our teams on the break, weren't they? Either opposition, and I think like Leeds were too good for Norwich. Southampton were way too good for West Brom in the end. I just think the cream always rises to the top, doesn't it, in big occasions, and it did in both games. And I thought the momentum's built like Leeds. I just think it's both built at the same time, really. So I think it primes Sunday perfectly well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's fascinating, actually, because there's a kind of symmetry with Southampton and Leeds, obviously two relegated Premier League teams, miserable seasons, obviously, last season. And at various times this season have shown unbelievable form. Southampton had that huge unbeaten streak. Leeds had a fantastic streak for 3 months at the start of this year and find themselves together. There's also obviously the Daniel Farke, Russell Martin kind of thing there as well. Obviously that's bubbled up. Obviously clips going around from Russell Martin talking about his time leaving Norwich. It adds a nice little bit of extra spice there, doesn't it, Martin?
It does, yeah. I was reading yesterday by a top journalist on X. He said that Russell Martin was a Norwich legend when Daniel Farke went in there as a manager, and he bombed him out to the under-21s and made him train with the under-21s. He actually cancelled his contract in the end. He treated him pretty abysmally at the end of his Norwich career. I think Russell won't. You would imagine him not being a massive fan of Daniel Farke if that was the way he was treated as a Norwich legend. He tries not to talk about it too much, Russell. I think he's quite respectful in his press conference I saw with Sky Sports today. He was just calm and cool, and he's got respect for everyone that I've played for, and I just thought he handled the question really well. But I think Russell just looks a man at quite ease at the moment for a young manager. He's only young. He's not even 40 yet, Russell, but he seems to be handling this week really well. I've watched him closely, and I've enjoyed seeing the snippets that are coming out from different media sources.
Yeah, because there was a little bit, I guess, probably more from opposition fans, a little, and we spoke about it last time we were on the show about his temperament a little bit. And obviously you don't get a bigger occasion than going to Wembley, but from the sounds of it, he does seem to be comfortable in that kind of surrounding and what it means.
Yeah, he's done really well, actually. I think he went for a moment when we were really pushing for the automatic promotion, and we were trying to get ourselves back in contention. We did, then we threw it away, and it didn't really rattle for a period of time. I guess like any manager would, but he did look really a bit like Daniel Farke. They just both looked annoyed. Obviously, the fourth official takes a bit of stick and what have you. But yeah, he seems to calm. I think the 2 games against West Brom just seemed to just calm everyone a little bit like at Leeds. Kind of weren't in any form, neither team going into the playoffs were in either form, but I just think they managed to sort of stay quite grounded, not get too carried away, and he's a very stubborn man anyway. He's got his way of doing things and he will stick to it, and he stick to his principles and rightly so. Fair play. Just keep doing what works, and hopefully that'll get us over the line at the weekend, but it's going to be a big ask.
Do you think he'll spring any surprise tactics or anything? Because we were chatting with Nancy Froston from The Athletic earlier today. She was saying, with Russell Martin and their style, what you're getting, the build up, everything like that. Perhaps the personnel can change and everything. Whereas maybe Daniel Farke, we've seen him kind of maybe move things around a little bit more. Doesn't seem as wed potentially to one style of play. Maybe relies more on individuals than the system potentially. But do you think we can expect any surprises from Saints in terms of lineup or tactics on Sunday?
Tactics potentially. He spoke about it a little bit in his presser today. That it'd be about game plans, tactics, and who carries it out the best. He's set up slightly different against Leeds in the last game at Ellen Road, and we'd not played that system all season. So he's switching between potentially playing like a 5 at the back, but he can go with a 4-3-3. He reverted back to a 4-3-3 at the weekend, Friday night, and he had to play Adam Armstrong through the middle, who's not played as a 9 a great deal. Brought Brooks and Fraser in either side, who had not really played a great deal recently. Brooks has been in the side, but jumped out for a couple of games. But he did mix things up. He's probably got 3 systems that he can play with. I've been quite impressed with how they can flick between it during games as well. They've ditched the inverted fullbacks. Jack Stevens is his captain, who's got two very, very good centre backs in Harwood Bellis and Jan Bednarek, and he will not drop either of those because they've been so good. So Jack Stevens comes into the side. It's whether he plays in at left back and tucks inside and plays in midfield, or he plays with a 5 and plays the 3 centre backs. One of them kind of can go forward and tuck into midfield. It worked very, very well against West Brom at their place, and it kept us fairly solid. It worked well at Leeds. We were a bit more fluent at Ellen Road when we played it. But Shay Adams missed both those games. I thought he was going to be such a big miss in the two semis, but he mixed it up. He's got options. Is he likely to spring a surprise? Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. It's a big pitch, isn't it? It's going to be energy sapping pitch. I mean, it's going to be about who can control the game. For me, it's the team that can keep the ball the most and control it and go through the gears. And I think he mixes up as he goes. I don't think what he starts with will be what he finishes with. And I think he's got people on the bench that he's not used this season a great deal who could have a massive impact in this game if he decides to unleash a certain individual that's probably got a point to prove. And that's Kamaldeen Silamana. He's not featured at all. I just wouldn't. He's a big game player, but we've not seen a lot of him. But if you need some pace and somebody to scare defences, he's certainly a man that I'd like to see utilised at the weekend as the game goes on. Not from the off, but certainly as the game goes.
Yeah, and how do you feel about Leeds' opponents in terms of you've beaten us twice this season? I think if you, I mean, the first game Leeds were just, I mean, it was just absolutely appalling. We did our post-match review on that one. We're tearing our hair out with that one.
Yeah.
Leeds were absolutely terrible that day. But what kind of concerns you most with Leeds, would you say, from a Southampton perspective? Because we've heard a lot about how we pressed Norwich quite high and we did it really successfully. And sometimes, if you get your press wrong, you can be cut apart, especially a really good passing team like Southampton. It's a big concern for Leeds. But what are you looking at Leeds going, not sure about that?
I just think the pitch is big, so I think to go on the press, I'm not convinced Leeds will massively go after Southampton and press them really high. I think they use the pace in Somerville, Ruta, and Nonto. I think that they're the three that really scare me because of the pace. That front three with Perot in there as well, who played in the Norwich game. I think that front four would scare a lot of Premier League sides as well as any Championship side. I think they've got pace and power. And I think it'd be about stopping the wide men. If Southampton are going to get anything out of it, they're going to need to stop those three, really. Somerville's he impresses me. I know he's in and out of form, but I think we're going to need to keep them quiet. I think he revert to a 5 at the back, and I think he used Ryan Manning one side and Carl Walker Peters other side, and they look to really keep it tight at the back and give Flynn Downs a little bit of freedom to kind of boss the game. But there's a big midfield battle to be had, isn't there, when you look at the two central midfields? Because, Kamara is a decent player. When I've seen him play, I think there'll be a big battle with him and our star man, Flynn Downs, who's been absolutely brilliant in there. He's bossed both the semi-finals for Southampton. I think the game will be won with the midfields and those attacking flair players that we've both got, really. So it's an intriguing game.
For Flynn Downs, you mentioned the absolutely wonderful season he's had for Saints. For perhaps Leeds fans that have not seen much of him, what is it that he's doing that's just made him so good and effective this season? He's
got fitter the last couple of weeks, which has been big. He missed a few with injury. I think we were all a bit concerned that he missed the end of the season. He put him in against Leeds and was really good at Ellen Road. I cannot talk highly enough of his performance at the Hawthorns. I thought it was the best I've seen of him this season. He totally bossed the game. Everything good about Southampton went through him. He doesn't give the ball away. He can pick it up from the centre-back, the full-backs, drive forward. And the one thing that I really enjoyed about the second performance at St Mary's last Friday was his ability to get the ball and turn and go forward with it all the time. We've maybe not seen that a lot from him because he looked to play the sideways pass, maybe the backward pass, and keep the ball. But he put us on the front foot a hell of a lot in the game against a West Bromwich Albion at home. I was really, really impressed with the way he played. He was just prepared to turn and go all the time. Played with some real intensity. He's a very, very, very good player. He's a Premier League player. I think if you look at the midfield battle, I think it'd be really interesting if he turns up and plays like he did in the last two games. It will give Southampton a massive chance.
Yeah. What's the? Forgive me for not knowing this, but what's kind of Southampton's record at Wembley generally? Then, I mean, how do you feel about Wembley? Because Leeds fans, I mean, we've lost there so many times in the old Wembley, new Wembley. It doesn't seem to matter. Cardiff when it was playoff final there, we've not done that well, to be honest.
I was looking at the stack pack today from the EFL, and Southampton have lost 8 of their last 10 previous matches at Wembley Stadium. They've won 2, including each of their last 5. Only Newcastle 9 between 74 and 23, and Leicester, I think it was 49 and 93, have had longer runs without a win at the venue. So it's not particularly good for us there, to be honest. So yeah, not the greatest time at Wembley. Not certainly in recent years, anyway.
So it's time for one of them to break the hoodoo, isn't it? Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just kind of looking beyond the game. I mean, if kind of the worst happens, if you know, from your point of view, if Southampton don't get promoted, what are you most concerned about the impact of that being? Is it the financial side? I mean, what kind of state is Southampton in that regard?
Yeah, financial worries would worry any Southampton fan mostly. I think from a business perspective, they want to get back to the Premier League. You know, I've really enjoyed the Championship this year, like you have. Yeah. We've spoke about it on the show. It's a really good competitive league. You win more games than you lose. It's a great place to be. And you know, look, if we end up in it again next season, it's not the end of the world, but financially, I think it will cause us huge problems. It'll see a huge exodus of players, and we've been worth their weight in gold. Some of these boys that stuck with us for a year in the Championship when we really needed them. Carl Walker-Peters, Jan Bednarek, absolutely superb. Joe Aribo stuck with us. Shea Adams has given us a year. They could have all jumped ship, but they didn't. They're worth their weight in gold, those boys. They've been absolutely immense to stay with us, and they've given us a really good opportunity to go up. I just think we need to get it over the line and get back. And look, you might keep some of them, you might lose some, but we've got some outstanding loan players in there at the moment, and you've got 5 on loan who, with 2 of those that have been absolutely immense. Harwood, Bellis and Downs, like I spoke about, and you want to keep them, but the only way you're going to keep those players is by being in the Premier League. And I just think for financial reasons, you've just got to be in that league, haven't you? I know there's probably 3 leagues within the Premier League now, and I found it particularly boring watching it this year, the Premier League. And it's another story, but you're just looking at 10th downwards. You just need to be able to beat those teams in the bottom 10. But financially it would be big. I think if we go up, I think it'd be really tough, and I think if we stay down, it'd be even tougher.
Yeah, I know that's the thing. I actually thought about that today. I thought, well, if we do go up, what are you looking at when you go up? Then it's an absolute dogfight, isn't it? And you know, I think we won 7 games last season or something. You know, absolutely dreadful. And you just think, oh God, to go through that again. Having said that, I think obviously the riches of it, I don't see us being able to fulfil, you know, our potential, you know, as a club, you know, sitting in the Championship, unfortunately. So it is always the dream to get back there, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, you want to be back there. You want your fans all want to watch Premier League football, Premier League players, don't they? You want to be in the richest league in the world, and for the financial aspect of it, you just don't want to end up being a Norwich or a Stoke, Watford. They just get stuck in the division, and it's really hard to get out of. You know, second year syndrome is not particularly great, is it? Though it's been fantastic this year, you find it very, very hard to find the dizzy heights of this season. It's been a roller coaster year, isn't it? Record numbers, and you know, the top 4 have just been so good. It's been incredible. But I don't think it'd be as tough a division next year. If either of us, one of us is not going to go up, but I don't think it'd be as tough next year. You got 3 teams coming down, not as strong as the 3 that come down last year, I don't think. So I think it'd be either way. You know, we could have a South Coast derby if we don't go up. You know, that would be pretty good fun, but. I'd rather not play the boys down the road and go back to the Premier League, to be quite honest.
Getting back to the game on Sunday, then, are you worried about the VAR aspect to it as well?
Yeah,
that's going to be in place. I mean, if anything happens that goes to a VAR and it's controversial, I mean, it's a sickener, isn't it?
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it, that it's brought in at this stage. You know, we've not had it all season in any games. We've not had it in the semi-finals, but we have it in the finals. But I just, I don't think anyone trusts it anymore. That the officiating with it. It's just been dreadful. There's a lot of talk about scrapping it. I just don't necessarily think it's needed when you've not had it all season. Do you know what I mean? It seems that you're guaranteed there'll be an awful decision. You know there will be. And we just hope you'll be hoping it doesn't go against you, and we'll be hoping it doesn't go against us. But yeah, a bit gutted there's VAR. It ruins football for me.
Yeah, no, agree. Final thoughts before we let you go then, Martin. What kind of game are you expecting on Sunday? How do you think it'll pan out?
I think first goal will be everything in it. I said that against West Brom. I thought if we scored the first goal, we'd absolutely go on and win it. I thought, but it might just be the one goal to win it though. I think first goal will be everything. If Leeds get the first goal, I think they'd be really, really hard to beat. And I think vice versa, if Southampton can get the first goal, they'll probably need two to go on and win it. But I think there's two really, really good sides there. I think the EFL and Sky and everybody will be absolutely delighted that it's a Leeds and Southampton final.
Yeah,
the pitch will play a massive part because it's huge. It will be a bit more sapping. There would have been the FA Cup final on it on Saturday as well, so it should be in really good state. Really, it's Wembley Stadium, but it's a massive occasion. And I had the pleasure of chatting to a few ex-Southampton players at the weekend, and pretty much what everyone said to me, it's all about up here now. It's not about fitness. It's not about game time. It's all about mentally who's going to be stronger. Mentally, who's going to play out their game plan the best, who's got the strongest people in the dressing room. You can have all the greatest players in the world, but mentally you've got to be bang on it, haven't you? And Joe Tessam, who used to play for Southampton, was pretty clear to me on that. He said that we've got the players, but mentally they're prepared for it. Mentally, can they do it on the biggest stage in world football, which is at Wembley, and one of the richest games in world football?
Yeah, absolutely. And you'll be there early, won't you, Sunday, Martin? You're going to get some chats with fans and get the vibe going before the game.
Yeah, I've been obviously content creating all year, and I've got my own channel at Football Martin. I do a lot of TikToking. So I've kind of become a big TikToker, and people want to come and talk to me about the game and give me their views. I'll tell you one thing I'm not going to do on this game is score prediction myself, but I usually go and ask our fan base and the Leeds fan base. We'll go and get score predictions for the game, get a few thoughts on it, how they're feeling. I'll kind of put something together for the whole day, and I'll drip feed bits out on social media as the week goes as well. So really, really, really excited to meet everybody. Excited to go to Wembley again. It's been a while, so can't wait to walk up Wembley Way, get off that tube. There's nothing quite like walking up Wembley Way, Olympic Way, and head into the fan park. It'll be electric up there.
Yeah, indeed. And the nerves are definitely building. Please do check out Martin's content. Links are in our description as well. Martin, thank you so much for joining us for this little preview chat. Absolute pleasure. I want to say best of luck, but I'm kind of a little bit reticent to do that. I'll be perfectly honest, but hopefully both teams will have a bright future either way anyway.
Absolutely. Good luck as well. Thank you very much for having me.
No, you're welcome. And please like the video if you've not liked the video already. Subscribe to the channel for more content on Leeds and all our teams across West Yorkshire. And if you've been watching along on X, please do retweet us. And if you've been listening on Spotify, please do leave us a rating and a review. I've been Steven Browne, and with me has been Martin Sanders. And we'll see you on the other side. Thank you very much. Good night.